The theme when it comes to, let's say, female characters, or more so live action depiction of those comic book characters, the themes, they're becoming so predictable, right? And we've seen this before. I've done videos on this, from the Captain Marvels of the world to Supergirl. And it's not just even about combating some of the nonsense that may be in terms of narrative. These shows or film adaptations, they try to allude to. It's not just solely about that. It's also about the fact that we have to combat a bunch of individuals, access media, Twitter stands, normies, that suggest anybody that calls this out or says there's a problem with this has an issue with female characters, strong female leads and stuff like that. And it's not the case. If I were you, actually, and you believed in this whole idea of having these strong female leads and characters, I would find it insulting that there's this sort of theme that pops off with every, well, let's say not every, but it seems at the very least every other, maybe aside from Wonder Woman, when they have to try to put down men in order for that female character to shine, right? Doesn't mean that you have to shy away. In fact, I encourage the femininity that you acknowledge when it comes to these characters. But unfortunately, what we deal with now is a lot of these we have to have these sort of social justice narratives within the plot line. And this is what I don't know how to pronounce his name, Ewan McGregor or something like that, I believe is his name. What he's talking about when it comes to, he's playing Black Mask of all people in the upcoming Birds of Prey movie. And big shout out to Bounding in the Comics. They reported that Ewan McGregor, if that's how you pronounce his name, was talking to a French website known as Premiere, I don't know how to say it. And he was saying that he was interested in this role because it explores these, it is a feminist film, and it explores these sort of misogyny, like sort of narratives and so forth. So though we knew nothing about the Birds of Prey, what he does is basically confirm what we maybe predicted with it. And that's sad that it's becoming that. It's like, okay, well, you have a bunch of, never mind the tokenizing of Black Canary, that's neither here nor there, but you have a bunch of female characters, and instead of it being an interesting story alone, what a lot of people are like, all right, well, it's going to be like some of these other characters that have been popping up. It's just going to be a feminist film. And it's sad. Again, that's pathetic. And I would be offended if I were you and you really wanted to see these female characters shine, because they're giving you, or more so, they're saying that you have to fit within this box, right? You have to fit within this box in order for this character to be depicted. And that to me is insulting, because when it comes to the men character, they don't have that sort of restraint. They don't have that, more so that restriction. They can have all sorts of different stories and we think nothing of it. But now we've gotten to the point to where we see these live action adaptations of these characters and these stories, and it's like, oh, well, here it goes again. And that is sad. Yes, it's corny what he says, but it just highlights what a lot of people were saying. And as always, I'm like, okay, let's get some confirmation. Let's see what these guys have to say. Let's see the actual film before I dive into it. I'm still not going to go into it in terms of the Birds of Prey movie because I haven't seen it. So I don't know if he's pulling our leg, but I doubt it. And the fact that he would go on record saying that, it leads me to believe that that's sort of what this is. That's going to be the approach of this movie. And again, it's pathetic. It's pathetic. It gets really old really fast. And like I say, you're just going to have a bunch of folks, as these videos start to come out, calling folks incels, calling people say they hate women because they dare to say that this is corny. This is whack, man. And I just don't get that. I don't get that. They don't actually address the position itself. Nobody has, well, maybe there are people, but the vast majority of a lot of these comic book fans that maybe down talk Supergirl, down talk Captain Marvel, it's not that they have an issue with female characters. Like I've said, You can look at Wonder Woman and that success. You can look at Alita, which is that's more so based on anime, but you get the drift that it's not that people have an issue. It's that put as much thought into developing the character as you do with the male characters, not trying to keep them sort of restricted to these mainstream leftist talking points. That's all. And that shouldn't be that difficult to do, but that's what happens. And that's the problem that a lot of people have. It's not with female leads. It's not with strong female characters. I don't have no issues with female characters. A lot of my favorite characters are female characters. I have no issues with that. My problem, and the problem that I know a lot of other people have, is that quite often in today's day and age, when it comes to these comic book characters and they cross over into live action, when it again, we talked about Supergirl, talked about Captain Marvel, in which they have these predictable narratives that they have to run with in terms of theme more so, and it has to somehow do with, I guess, knocking men, right? It's like the character can't stand on its own. They have to down talk men. There has to be narratives of, oh, I'm a strong woman and I'm this strong because I'm a woman and I have to put down men in the process. And they shouldn't have to do that. They should be able to stand on their own. And that's what gets me when a lot of these people are like, you have a problem with strong female leads. No, that's not the case. It's that you're making predictable movies. You're making predictable shows.